Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. And today on the channel, I'm going to be talking about the brand new comedy drama film that just hit theaters this week called Mack and Rita. Before I get into my thoughts on this film, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, comment below, have you heard of this film? Are you interested in checking it out? And also turn the notification bell so you never miss any review or any video that I post on this page, and I post weekly. And now without further ado, let's get into my thoughts on this brand new film. Directed by Katie Aselton, who has done films like Black Rock and The Freebie, Mack and Rita follows the story of a 30-year-old writer who spends a wild weekend in Palm Springs and wakes up to find she has magically transformed into her 70-year-old self. The film stars Diane Keaton, Elizabeth Lail, Taylor Page, Loretta Devine, Dustin Milligan, Simon Rex, Patty Harrison, and many more. Mack and Rita is just one of those films that really was just not really promoted that much. I saw the trailer once in theaters, and when I did see the trailer, I wasn't really that captivated by the trailer. It just looked to me to be like another kind of one of those films like Freaky Friday and The Change Up and The Hot Chick. I thought, this has been a premise that's done many a times. This is probably like all those other kind of movies with some comedy. First thing that really came to mind about this film is the casting. There's a lot of really good casting here. Diane Keaton, even though she's not somebody that I really watch a lot of her films, I really respect her for the roles that she plays in. She's been in a lot of comedy and drama kind of films, and she can be really inspirational with some of her roles, even though it's usually not stuff that really is for me. You have Elizabeth Lail in this. She was in the horror movie Countdown. You have Taylor Page. She was in Zola last year, the A24 film. You have Simon Rex. He was in Red Rocket last year, which was a phenomenal film. You have Patty Harrison. She was in Together. And this whole casting was really good, and just the comedy with Patty Harrison and Loretta Devine in this, I thought they both did a really good job with their roles. And even Simon Rex, even though he has a smaller role in this, I thought he did a really good job with his role as well. Even though this movie is really goofy at times, and it really doesn't feel like it makes sense at times. Mack, played by Elizabeth Lail, she is a writer and she's struggling to write her next book. She's a social media influencer and she's also a model. And so she's gonna go on this weekend getaway trip because her best friend Carla is getting married. And when they get to this whole getaway location, her friends, they want to go out and party, and they want to go to a Bad Bunny concert. She wants no part of this, so she goes to this regression tent, and she goes in this tanning bed pod. And when she gets into this pod, this whole guy that's there basically says, make a wish, basically. And so she basically wishes to be a 70-year-old and just kind of relax and be chill. When she comes out of the pod, she is Rita, and she is played by Diane Keaton. And so she goes back to the house, and her friend Carla is there, and of course, she doesn't believe her, so she has to find some way to prove to her friend that she is actually Mack. So she does that, and from there on, it's basically her just really trying to do the same things that Mack can do. But there are some plot holes in this film, like for instance, Rita is very opposite of Mack. So she is very unorganized. She is very outspoken, which Mack is not. And then she doesn't know how to work a phone. She doesn't know how to take photos. She doesn't know how to post photos. I thought that was a plot hole of the film, because if she's playing Mack, even though she's a 70-year-old, she should know how to do this if she still is technically Mack. And I found Rita's character to just be a really plain kind of character. I really felt that throughout this film, she doesn't really learn any lessons. If you've seen films like The Hot Chick and The Change Up, they learn a lot of different lessons, and she at any point does not learn any lessons. She doesn't really help anybody or make anybody's life any better. A lot of the times in this film, she's sitting around with all these different old ladies. She's drinking wine, they're cracking jokes. She'll do a little bit of Mack's schedule as she's still trying to act like Mack, but really nothing else is really going on. She does like this boy named Jack who is house sitting for Mack's actual house for her dog, and they actually have this love connection. And to be honest with you, I thought it was kind of gross. I really didn't like that whole love connection. It just seemed kind of like a pointless movie. There was no really any direction in this movie. There are even points in this film where the comedy just doesn't really line up and it's not really that funny. I also felt that Mack's character, even though we know a little bit about her, we don't really have a lot of moments with her because the film goes really quick into her being Rita. So we only get maybe about 10-15 minutes of her character, and then we have Rita throughout the rest of this film. So really, it's really hard to really root for any characters here. I also thought that Taylor Page played Carla in this, I thought that she really didn't really have that great of a role in this. For some reason, I really just wasn't really jiving with her and Rita in this, and especially some of the scenes with Mac in this. I just didn't feel like she really was the right person for the role. And I don't even understand in the beginning of the film when Mac is hanging out with all her different friends. I don't know why they introduced these two other girls that are with them, because when Mac turns into Rita, they're nowhere to be found and they're pretty much not in the film. So why even introduce those characters if they have no role to really fulfill in this film? And there's also another really cringy scene in this where Diane Keaton's character is actually talking to a dog, and the dog is actually talking like a human, and she's in this room and it has all these rainbow colors. And I was just thinking to myself, oh, this is so bad and cringe. And there's a lot of cringy scenes throughout this. I just think that this film feels very weightless. It doesn't feel like it has a lot at stake. It feels like Rita's character is just really kind of written really badly. And why will we even have this film about her really changing into this character if she doesn't really learn anything at the end of this film? And of course, the ending is very predictable and you know what's going to happen in this film, but it really doesn't really matter because we don't really care about Rita throughout this film. And this film right now has a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes with an audience score of an F right now. And I think that it definitely deserves it. I think I'm going to give the score of this film a 2 out of 5, only because I really like the cast and there were a few funny moments in this film. But overall, I wouldn't watch this film again, and I wouldn't recommend that you check it out in a theater. If you want to watch it, rent it for a couple bucks, but it's really not even really worth that for the most part. If anything else, you watch this because you like the cast, and that's really why I watched this film. But I really didn't like this film overall. But thank you guys for watching this review, and I'll see you guys on my next one.